The practical application of price elasticity of demand, as we had said, or as we have already said, is one of them is devaluation. What is devaluation? Devaluation is the deliberate action of any government to lower the value of its currency against other currencies, especially dollar, or even these hard currencies like a euro, like a pound. So this is where the government comes up and say, no, we want our value to lower against the other currencies. What does it mean? That if you have been exchanging, let us look at Uganda shilling. Assuming we have been exchanging every Uganda shilling at US dollar, we have been exchanging it at that. Devaluation means that you are going to lower the value of this Uganda shilling against the dollar. So what government does is to say now a dollar is going to cost 3,500. That is a dollar. So it was at first every dollar was being exchanged at 3,000. Now the government deliberately on its own decides to lower the value. This confuses students so much, not only students but even individuals. People look at this from 3,000 to 3,500. If you say you have lowered the value, they cannot imagine it because the figure has gone up. But with money aspect, whenever you are foregoing a lot of money to buy smaller things, that means the value has gone down. So if you have been buying a dollar at 3,000 shillings and then you increase the rate, the exchange rate, you don't lower the exchange rate, you increase the exchange rate. The moment you increase the exchange rate, it implies that you have lowered the value of your currency. In this case, the value of Uganda shilling. So if the dollar has been costing 3,000 and then government announces that now the dollar costs 3,500, in economics we say the government has devalued its currency against other currencies. So that's the language we use. For common person, we say the government has made the dollar very expensive. But in economics, we summarize it and say government has devalued its currency against the dollar. That's what it means. So by so doing, it means that now your currency has less value than the value of the dollar. The dollar had higher value. I mean the currency had higher value. Now the same dollar is costing a higher figure. So you are devaluing your currency. Someone may ask, in Ugandan case, we have not had government devaluing. Devaluation takes place where we have what we call the fixed exchange rate. Fixed exchange rate system. Fixed exchange rate system. That's when you can have devaluation. Uganda is a free market economy, so we don't have this devaluation. In other words, if you are giving examples, this devaluation may not be applicable in Ugandan situation because we don't have fixed exchange rate system. What we have in Uganda, we call it a free exchange rate system. In Uganda, we have a free exchange rate system. In some other countries, they have fixed exchange rate system. So this point here, when we come to practical application of price elasticity of demand, if it is paper 2 where you have application, such point does not apply. It can only apply in paper 1. How is this one used? Then you can say when there's devaluation. If they say give the practical applications of price elasticity of demand in Uganda, this point will not be there. If you give it, then you don't get surprised if the examiner asks you that, are you sure? Is this true? Is this a reality? Because we don't have devaluation in Uganda. Why don't we have devaluation? Because we are running a free exchange rate system. Now, something I can hint on a bit, because you understand it more when it comes to international trade and the exchange rate systems. So, in Uganda, if I hint on it a bit, in the free exchange rate system, the currency is not devalued. Instead, it moves on the forces of demand and supply. So, if this one occurs in Ugandan situation or in an economy which has a free exchange rate system, if the dollar has been costing 3,000 and then it goes to 3,500, we don't say it has been devalued, because the devaluation is deliberate action. This one is not deliberate action. Forces of demand and supply are the ones determining the exchange rate. So in this case, in a free exchange rate system, we say the currency has depreciated. So instead of devaluation, we say it has depreciated. So in Ugandan situation, the currency appreciates or depreciates, but there is no devaluation. But there are countries where there is a fixed exchange rate system, and that's when devaluation will work. So, practical application of this, we have known the definition for devaluation. It's deliberate action. Deliberate means you decide yourself and you know that you have decided to do it, and you do it for a purpose. There must be a purpose. One of the purposes of devaluation is to apply, to increase or decrease the imports and exports. These are the reasons for devaluation, major reasons for devaluation. So, those major reasons for devaluation are these two. A country devalues. Uganda shilling has been 3,000. The dollar has been 3,000. Then it goes to 3,500. The purpose of devaluation is to increase the volume of exports and lower the volume of imports. When you devalue, this sometimes becomes a bit hard. One thing that you have to put in your mind is that when you devalue, it means that you, the country which is devaluing, you are foregoing more of your currency to get smaller amount of the foreign currency. So you devalue, there is a foregoing a lot of your currency, and you get less of the external currency. That is what you are seeing. You have been giving out 3,000. Now you are giving out 3,500 against the dollar. That means you are now foregoing more. In money terms, your currency has lost value by a certain percentage. And if you want to calculate the percentage of loss of value, it is this one over this, the difference, that is 500 over 3,000 times 100. That will be the level of loss of value. Now, what is the purpose of this? The purpose of devaluation is to make sure that you increase the volume of the exports. Now, if for example, the price of coffee has been, say, 500 shillings a kilo, with your dollar, you could buy 6 kilograms. You could buy 6 kilograms of coffee using $1 before devaluation. Now, after devaluation, you are using still the same amount, 3,000 shillings. Now you are buying 7 kilograms of coffee. Why are you buying more? Remember, a person who is outside the country is spending the same amount. So demand has to increase. Demand increases. So this one is going to increase the demand because you have lowered the price of your dollar. Now, the person who is exporting, when he exports to this country and he sells his coffee to, say, US, he has been getting $1, and here he earns 3,000. Now he's earning 3,500. So he's encouraged to export more. So if your aim is to increase the volume of exports, you devalue. By devaluing, you are going to sell more of your products, because to the buyer, that is the importer, that is the outsider, who is buying your coffee, is seeing as if you have lowered the price. And even this one who is exporting has been exporting, getting $1. When he gets $1, he gets only 3,000. Now he's getting 3,500. An implication that he is now earning more in Ugandan shillings by selling his coffee. So the purpose is of devaluation is to make exports increase the volume of exports and lower the volume of imports. Why? You needed $1, 3,000 to buy something of $1. Now, assuming you are buying shirts from China or from USA, let's use the country USA, which owns the dollar. So we said you used to buy a shirt at $5. That's what you used to spend. And in Ugandan shillings, that means you are 5 times this, that is 15. You are spending 15,000 to buy that shirt. Now that the dollar is expensive, it has gone to 3,500. This amount cannot buy the shirt anymore. Now you need 1,000. I think in this one you need 1,750. I think so. 1,750. That enough. 15,750. That's what you need now. So, because the dollar has not changed, the price of the shirt has not changed. It is still $5. It has not changed. But because you are buying the dollar more expensively, now you need 17,500 to buy the same shirt. Before you needed 15,000 to buy the same shirt. Given the forces of demand and supply, now that the price has gone up after devaluation, you cannot buy the same quantity of shirts. So you are likely to reduce the quantity because the price has gone up. Why has it gone up? Because you devalued. After devaluation, the exchange rate went up. After the exchange rate has gone up, what does it mean? It means that you are not going to buy the same commodities you have been buying. Now you are going to buy less. If your income is not enough, it does not increase, it means that you are going to reduce the quantity of imports. So if you have been importing shirts from USA, assuming every month you bring 10 shirts. Now the 10 shirts means 150,000, which you needed to buy 10 shirts. Now 150,000 now cannot buy the 10 shirts. It is going to buy less. And because it is going to be less, you are going to increase the price, and these people will not buy. So the demand will go, the volume of imports will go down. You can see that because of that, the volume of the exports will increase from the explanation I gave, and the volume of imports is going to go down. Why is it going down? Because now after devaluation, the shirt looks more expensive than it has been. You have been spending only 15,000 to buy the shirt, and you buy 10 shirts. Now with this, you can't buy 10 shirts anymore because the price has gone up. So you are going to reduce the quantity. So the demand for exports is going to reduce. The volume is going to reduce because of devaluation. So that is the purpose of devaluation. But this can only be successful when both the imports and exports have elastic demand. If one of them has inelastic demand, then you are not going to be able to achieve what you want. For example, if the shares have inelastic demand, people, even if you have increased the price, the demand will still be high. So if the imports have inelastic demand and the exports have elastic demand, then the valuation is not going to be that successful. But when we come to international trade, we shall be able to see the real effect of this devaluation under free exchange rate system. So that is devaluation, practical application of price elasticity of demand. And you have said devaluation is one of the areas where practically we apply the price elasticity of demand. It is very important. So if you are going to devalue as a country, first find out what constitutes your imports. Do they have inelastic demand or elastic demand? What constitutes your exports? Do they have inelastic demand or, inelastic demand or elastic? In case there is inelastic demand, devaluation will not be successful. The moment you have one or both being with inelastic demand, the devaluation will not be successful. And when we come to study that time, we shall say what makes devaluation practically impossible for the nations which want to exercise it. It's because of that. One of the points is because of the inelastic demand of some commodities. Both, like in Uganda, the agricultural commodities have inelastic demand. By lowering the price of tomatoes, it will not increase. It will not increase the what? It is not. So, if one of them is inelastic, then you're not going to be successful. And I was saying that if you lower the price of tomatoes, there will be almost no change, no big change in the price of, in the demand of tomatoes. So tomatoes to the outside market, they have inelastic demand. You cannot increase the quantity demanded of your tomatoes, quantity demanded of your yams, because you have lowered the price. So the evaluation may fail in that case. Even imports, like Uganda, we are importing a lot of commodities. You cannot say that because I want to reduce the imports, let me increase the price. You increase the price, people will still continue to import the commodities for some reasons, which you will be seeing in international trade, or which we shall look at in international trade. They will continue buying the imported commodities. So devaluation can only work when the commodities you are dealing in have elastic demand. That is, the imports have elastic demand, the exports have elastic demand. If you fail to have that, then devaluation will not be successful for your purpose. So that is what we have looked at as the purposes, the practical application of price elasticity of demand. So if you have been studying price elasticity of demand and you were asking, but don't these things just waste our time? Don't they just waste our effort, our energy, our head? No, they're not just wasting your head. They're not just wasting your time. No, please. It is very, very important. And when we come to international trade, we are going to see more details about that devaluation. That one, I will not get tired of reminding you that the moment you don't master the price theory area, you are going to find difficulties with the other topics. Reason is that this is a foundation, this is a basis of economics. Wherever we shall be moving to in all those topics, we shall be meeting areas of price theory. You will not avoid it. And if you have been studying price theory, or if you have studied price theory, and you say, I'm tired of this price theory, I'm waiting for that time when we go to another topic, this one I'll leave it out. That means even in other topics you'll find problems, because here and there we shall be referring to price theory. Areas of price theory, not as a topic, but areas of price theory. You're going to look at the elasticity of supply, elasticity of demand, and other aspects of price theory. So it is very, very important. Now, remember, we said elasticity is very important, and we look at three major areas of elasticity. The first one we looked at was price elasticity of demand. Now we have almost done enough, not all, but the biggest part of price elasticity of demand has been considered. We have looked at the calculations, we have looked at the diagrams, we have looked at the definitions, what it means, the application, the determinants of price elasticity of demand. Now we are moving to another area of elasticity, which we mentioned, and this one is called cross. Sometimes it is there, price elasticity of demand. Sometimes we abbreviate it as cross P. That is sometimes the abbreviation which we use when we are talking about this area. Cross price elasticity of demand, in some books that you find, or some individuals when they will be talking about this, they will be they can leave out price and say cross elasticity of demand or cross price elasticity of demand. In the abbreviation, we use this XP, E, and double D. That is cross price elasticity of demand. So we are defining what is cross price elasticity of demand. This refers to the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of one commodity to change or to changes in the price of another, let's say other, price of another commodity. That's what we call cross price elasticity of demand. That we are looking at the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of one commodity to changes in the price of another commodity. In other words, we have two commodities. We have commodity X and we have commodity Y. Commodity X, we want to see how will its demand change. How will its demand change when the price of Y changes. That's what we call cross price elasticity of demand. And usually when we are calculating it, we say cross price elasticity of demand is equal to a percentage change in the quantity demanded of X as a result of percentage change in the price of Y. That is the formula. The percentage change, this triangle represents change. The percentage change in the quantity demanded of X as a result of percentage change, that is exactly here, refers to the degree of responsiveness of the quantity demanded of one commodity X to changes in the price of another commodity, which is Y. This is what we use to calculate cross price elasticity of demand. And we say that unlike, that is the definition and that is the formula that we have. That is the price, and that is the definition, and that is the formula which we have. We say, unlike in the price elasticity of demand, we do not multiply. The final figure by -1. So we said price elasticity of demand must be positive. Therefore, we don't, whenever we calculate and you get that the figure is negative, we multiply it by -1. If it is negative, say -3, we multiply it by -1 to get 3. Because price elasticity of demand is given in positive figures, we don't give it in negative figures. With this one, cross price elasticity of demand, it remains as you calculate it. That's why we are saying, unlike in price elasticity of demand, we do not multiply the final figure by -1. If you have calculated and it is negative, we leave it as negative. If we calculate and it is positive, we leave it as positive, because each figure that we get has an implication. And we say, when the figure calculated is positive, then the two commodities are substitutes. The two commodities are substitutes. So we are saying when the figure calculated is positive, then we know the two commodities are substitutes. They substitute each other. Whereas when the figure calculated is negative, then the two commodities are complements or complementary goods. The moment you find the figure positive, the moment you get the figure positive, then you know that these are substitutes. The moment you get the figure negative, then you know these are complements or they are complementary goods. So that's what you have to note. And that's why we don't multiply our figure by -1, because a positive figure has something that it shows us, and a negative figure also has something it shows us in relation to these two commodities. So, cross price elasticity of demand, this is how we have seen what it is, and we have seen how to calculate it in the formula. It doesn't change so much, it is almost the same. but you know that we are now calculating the price change of one commodity and the quantity change of another commodity. That makes it that makes it the relationship when you're looking at the two. And after that relationship, we come to a conclusion that these commodities are substitutes. These commodities are complementary. So that's why we have to leave them as they are. And if it is zero, I've not written it here, but though it is rare to have zero, but in case you calculate cross price elasticity of demand and the answer is zero, that means there is totally no relationship with the two commodities. In other words, the price of a shirt changing may not have any relationship with the quantity demanded of onions. You cannot say people are not demanding onions because they have bought shirts, the price of shirts have gone up. These ones have no relationship at all. So if the answer is zero, in case you have calculated and the answer is zero, better know that there is no relationship between commodity X and commodity Y. But the moment there is a relationship, you are either going to find the figure being positive or the figure being negative. Once it is negative, complements or complementary goods. Once it is positive, it is substitute. Why? When they are substitutes, it means that when you increase the price of one commodity, when you increase, for example, X, the moment you increase the price of X, what is going to have to happen to the demand of Y? The demand definitely will increase for Y. Why does it increase? Why does this one increase? When the price of X has gone up, the demand for Y increases. It's what we said earlier, that once these commodities are substitutes, you increase the price of Pepsi-Cola, assuming the price of Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola has been 1,000 each. And then Pepsi-Cola, this is the X, and the Y is the Coke, and it goes to 1,400 a bottle. People are going to run away from Y, which is Coke, and come to Pepsi, whose price has remained constant, because now it appears this one is lower than this price, and therefore people are going to run to this and run away from this. That means the moment you increase the price of one commodity, the demand for the other whose price has not increased is going to increase. That's why it is, when you calculate, it is positive. This one increases, this one increases. The responsiveness is positive, and therefore you know these are substitutes. What about complementary commodities? The moment you have complementary commodities means that they are used together. The moment you increase the price of one commodity, the demand for the other commodity is going to reduce because they are used together. And now that the price of one has gone up, demand for it is going to reduce, automatically compelling the demand for the other also to go down, meaning that a rise in price will lead to a reduction in the complementary commodity. And this one is going to create a negative figure. So once you get the answer negative, don't ask which commodities are these. These are common questions that you ask, you find in examination. They tell you calculate this, and then once you reach the final figure, say, given this and this and this, calculate the cross price elasticity of demand or the cross elasticity of demand. Once you calculate it, you get the answer. Roman 2 will say, what is the relationship between the two commodities? What do they want? They are complementary commodities, they are substitutes. That is the answer they want. And only that. Don't add on and say they are positive, they are substitutes because the answer we have got is negative. No. The question is, what is the relationship between the two commodities, X and Y, or P and W? You just say both commodities are substitutes. All these two commodities are substitutes. All these two commodities are complements or complementary goods. Only that. But you not come to conclude that without calculating and getting the figure, then you see it. Let us see the calculation. We are going to see the calculation of price elasticity of demand. I'm going to give you examples of what we have said and see how practically it works. And we are going to begin with the example 1. We want to have example 1 and example 2. Example 1 is going to be showing us one of the two. That is the complementary or the goods being substitutes. But we are going to do it by looking at the figures. And this is the question. The question says, the price of X increased from 1,000 shillings to 1,200 shillings. And the quantity demanded of Y changed from 200 units to 240 units per week. Say, calculate the gross price elasticity of demand. So we are noting certain things here. We are going to look at the figures changing. These are the figures changing. And then we are going to, these are for Y and for X. We are going to see them changing, and we are going to calculate and find out finally what is the nature of X and Y.